All right, in this section, we're going to execute our first script that we have written from the previous section. If you have not watched the previous lesson, how to write this test script, go ahead and watch that first before you start executing this test case. Let's start from the beginning, okay? All right, let's execute our Cypress test script. We are starting from scratch now. In the previous lesson, we have seen how to write our first Cypress test script. If you have not watched that video, go ahead and watch that first and then come back to this lesson. So wherever you have installed Cypress, go ahead and open that directory. So in the terminal, so for me, I have installed Cypress in this directory like that. So locate wherever you have installed your Cypress, okay, from the previous lesson. And let's open Visual Code. That's our editor. And let's open that folder. Okay, so I have that under tutorials. And this is our main folder where I have installed Cypress. Okay, I'm going to open the parent directory. Okay, open that. So see, it opened my parent directory where I have my Cypress, and it also has all the node modules and cypress.config.js, and this is important. And now this is our script that we created in the previous lesson. Okay, it's under E2E directory like that. So this script has some issues, and we're going to discover that while we run our test script. Okay, and that is also a good practice to do, and learn how to debug your failures, test automation failures. So in order for us to run this, we need to open Cypress runtime. And in order to do that, open your terminal or open PowerShell if you're on Windows, and then go to that directory. Okay, Cypress_tutorial. All right. So this is where my Cypress is installed. Okay, so here, don't go into Cypress directory, but in the main directory, type npx Cypress and open and hit enter. I'm going to zoom in a little so you see it better. So go to the parent directory like this. For me, it's Cypress_tutorial where my Cypress is installed. And then in that parent directory, type in npx Cypress open and hit enter. So it opens Cypress runtime, and click on end-to-end testing or E2E testing, and then choose Chrome, start E2E testing in Chrome. And it's going to open our runtime. Just collapse these two. And this is the test we are interested in. Okay, so if you see this, login test.sci. So this is the test we are interested in. So in order for you to run that test, just click on that test. All right, and it's good, and it's going to start running that test. Okay. So it didn't finish. All right, so it finished the script and it asserted that it saw inventory.html, but something happened with my second assert. Okay, so there's definitely an issue there. Let's go back to our code one more time. So I said sci.get.title should contain products, right? So essentially my syntax is wrong. So if you go to, I'll show you a website where you can go and check the syntax. So go to docs.cypress.io/API/table of contents like that. Go to API actually. Go to this URL, docs.cypress go to this URL docs.cypress.io/API, and it'll give you all the commands and it'll give you all the commands and assertions. Okay. So if you expand these queries, you can see, what are all the queries you can use. Okay. Get is the command that we've been using. So sci.get, you can see the syntax. So sci.get syntax is here and how you can use it. All the examples are given here. Okay. So definitely go through this. And for example, here, the input element, if you want to get the input element, this is how you call it. And, list is here. Drop down menu, this is how you can call it or access it. And link you can access like this. Definitely go through this website to use the right commands. Go through this page and you can understand how to use sci.get method. And similarly, you can use other methods also. So in our test, we have one assertion. And here for products, we try to do assertion here, but it's not really, we're not asserting it. We're just checking if the title contains products. And it's fine, right? The title has products, right? If you see hover over it, you can see that it is selecting the title, that's products. It does contain products, so which is good, but we are not really asserting it. That means, what is the expected result? You're not really using assert command here, right? The way you used it for URL, you're not really using it for title. There's nothing wrong in it. Let's go back to our code. So here, this is still a valid command. You're looking for title which contains products. Okay. It did find that element, but you're not really asserting anything. You're not verifying anything, right? We said we have to verify the product page's title, but here, if you see, this is verification. You're saying this URL should include this inventory.html. This is assertion. Here, we are not giving any assertion. So we need to give assertion here in order for your test to assert something, right? So if you go here to this link, so go here, assertions, expand this, and should is the assertion, right? So you can use one of these. Let's come here and let's use an assertion. Let's do sci.get. So we are getting the title. Okay. And it should use this method. And let's say contains and products, like that. All right. Let's run this and see what happens. Here it's running. So contains is not defined. Oh, so let's go back to our script. So it's saying contains is not defined. So we need to give in quotes like this, like the way we gave for include. Right. So we have to use in quotes, and let's run this. Is it contain? All right, that's contain. Okay. So So that's contained. It's not contains, but it's contain. So this is how the syntax goes. So site.get.title should contain, just like the way you said include, should contain products. Okay, this is the actual verification of the page. Previous one, this one is just getting that element and seeing that element is present or not, the title products is present on the page or not. But this one is actually checking or verifying that this title should contain products, and it's asserting if it doesn't find the products, then it's going to fail and throw an error. Let's give a random name so that we want to purposely fail this test case and see how the assertion works, right? So all you have to do is Command S or save on your Mac and Control S on your Windows. What it does is as soon as you save it, use Command S or Apple key S. So as soon as you save this file, it's going to run this. Okay, it's going to rerun this. So let's see. Hitting Control. I'm going to put this side by side so you can see it clearly. All I'm going to do is press Command S on my keyboard. Okay, there you go. As soon as I entered Command S, it started running. And see, we purposely threw an error, right? So we gave a typo here, right? So we want to see how the assertion fails. So this one assertion failed. So it did not find that title that contains this text, right? So let's fix this and let's give the actual text that we are looking for. That's products. Let's save it. Control S on Mac, Command S on Mac and Control S on Windows. Okay. So now both the assertions have passed. All right. This is how you run your tests. Very simple. Okay. So this is a real-time network information. Okay. So don't worry about that. And our two assertions have passed. So a test has passed. Okay. Now let's go back to our test script. Okay. So that's under E2E. So this is our test script. Okay. So what we have done is we visited this website and then we looked for this element username. We typed the username and password and clicked on login. And then we verified that, it opened inventory.html after you logged in. And the title should contain products. And this is the verification. All right. Now let's do a couple of more tests. Let's add two more. This is one test case, right? We talked about this is one test case block. Now let's add a couple of more test cases. Let's go to our source demo and see what test cases can we add. So once you log in here, this is the products page. It shows up, right? We can write test cases to add, a couple of these products and make sure they show up in the cart. So let's say we add Sauce Labs backpack and we add Sauce Labs bike light. And then we can click on the cart and see that these are present. So we can add that test case to our script. So in order to do that, let's go back to our products and let's find these elements, these two elements, right? So for that, what do? You right click, go to inspect, click on this and hover over this, right? So right now we need to remove it. All right. So hover over this one. It says add ID equal to add to cart Sauce Labs backpack. Okay, we can use that ID. And then this one is add to cart Sauce Labs bike light. Okay, we can use these two elements like that. And we're going to click on these two buttons and make sure they're added to the cart. So once they're added to the cart, we're going to click on the cart, which is this element. Okay, this is the class shopping cart link. Okay. And then we're going to click on that and make sure those two elements are present. Okay, let's see, do that. And we're going to click on the cart and we're going to make sure that this inventory item is there, Sauce Labs backpack and Sauce Labs bike light. Okay. And you can always refer to the docs, okay, the Cypress docs, to see what command you should be using. We're going to use the .get, .sci.get. We're going to use one of these commands, right? So if it's a class, then we're going to use dot. All right, let's go back to our script and let's start creating the second test case where we want to add products to the cart. Every it block is a test case, right? So now you have to add another it block essentially. Type it. So you have to give the name of your test script. So we'll say add products to the cart. Okay. And the syntax is you have to give the arguments. Here it's empty arguments. This and curly braces. And here you can write your test case. Right, all the steps that go inside the test case, you can write it here. So keep in mind that every it block is fresh. It starts newly. So if you use a sci.visit command like that, it's going to stay inside of this it block and inside of this test case. So again, you have to give the same statement inside of this test case also. So in order to avoid that, so one way is to write it again. All right. So another way is instead of writing these commands again and again, what you can do is you can use another block. So you can use before each like that. Okay, and the syntax is like this and semicolon. So you can always copy paste this block. If you don't remember exact syntax, you can always copy paste this block and then fill in your statements inside of it, right? So here we are not doing the advanced stuff, right? We are trying to transition from manual testing to automation, right? So we want to keep it as simple as possible. And if you want me to do a complete course on Cypress alone or any of the test automation tool, please let us know so that we can create a more in-depth tutorial for you from scratch how to do it. But the scope of this is to just transition you from manual testing to automation testing without overwhelming you. And we're going to keep it as simple as possible. And you can always copy paste these statements. You don't have to worry about the details. And by all means, if you are curious and if you want to learn more, dig deeper and find out more information. And do let us know if you want us to create another course just for automation. All right. So this block, before each block, you can move all those statements that have to be executed, which are common across multiple test cases. You can always move them into this block. That way, you don't have to retype them every time in each of these test cases. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the login statements into before each like that. So we're going to copy or cut this here and paste it here. So all the login information is here. Login statements are here. And here, so once we log in, we are making sure that it opens inventory and it lists the product page. And then we are trying to add the products here, right? So we don't have to give this anymore since we already gave it here. So here we'll start adding the products. Now let's go back to our cart. Let's log in back. Okay. Let's log in. Let's remove these from the cart. So we're starting fresh. So we want to add this with this button, which is, the name is this. Okay. So go back to this. So for now, I'm just going to add the locators, right? Just copy paste these two. I want to add this also, the next one, this one. And I want to copy this name. Okay, now I'm going to write my steps here. I want to add these two products essentially. Now, I want to use sci.get to get those elements. Hashtag. So I want to get the first one like that. And then I'm going to click on it, which is going to add that element into my cart. Okay, now I'm going to add this element also. That is the second one. Let me copy that and paste it here. All right, then just delete this from here to keep it clean. Now let's see if this runs, and then we can add more statements, how to verify in the shopping cart. Okay, let's see if this runs and adds these two products to the cart. Now, this is our editor. And let's keep our Cypress side by side. Let's keep it open like that. All right. Now, when I save this, it automatically runs this runner, right? So let's expand this a little bit. That way I can see what's happening in real time. All I have to do is save this file. Okay, it started running. So first test case and second test case. So it added these two products. You see, cart has two products. So it's working fine. So it located the element. Now I want to make sure, I want to verify that in the cart, right? Cart has the two products that we added above. Okay, so in order to do that, let's go back and locate those and get the elements for those first, right? So we added this, we added this. We want to locate this first. We want to click on the cart. So find that element, which is this shopping cart link is the class. Let's copy that. Let's go back to our editor. Now we have to click on the shopping cart link, right? So we have to first get the element, and we just found out from here that the class is shopping cart link. So you have to use the dot notation, right? Because it's a class, shopping cart. And then once we find that element, we're going to click on it like so. Okay. And once we click on it here, so we want to see these two products are added, right? Let's find these elements. So the name is remove, or the ID is remove Sauce Labs backpack. Let's copy that. And let's get the second one also here. Here. Let's copy that. Okay, we want to verify that these two products should be there in the cart. Okay, so sci.get. So essentially what we want to do is we want to verify that the two products are in the cart. Okay, so we do get the element. That is, let's copy the first one, the backpack. So this element should be visible, right? So we'll use the assertion for this, should and be dot visible. See, it gives you options when you start typing them, right? Like this. So be dot visible. See, it'll give you the options. Just click on that. And now we have to give the same thing for the second one, which is this bike light. So copy and paste that element right there. Okay, so we are checking these two products should be added to the cart. Now let's run this. Let's keep our Cypress runner open. Let's go back to our Visual Code and let's save this. See, it started running. Okay, so it's checking the assertion. So something happened here. So it could not find it. Why? Oh, okay. So we didn't give the hashtag, right? So that's a syntax error. So let's fix that. And let's run it one more time. Okay, so finished, right? So it saw, so you see, both the assertions passed. That means it found those products here. Okay, so we wrote second test case successfully and executed it. All right. So you can add as many test cases as you want like this. All you have to know is learn how to find these locators, right? Find these elements and learn how to use those actions like here click and here type, right? Things like that. So just know some of those basic methods and know how to assert, how to use assertions. Here we're checking it should be visible here, right? And here we're checking that it should contain, right? It should contain the products in the title. So all you need to do is find that element and then you should, either perform an action like this, right? Type is an action, click is an action, or you should assert it, verify, do something, that checking, you have to check something, on that element if it passes or not, if the expected condition is met or not with these assertions. So that's pretty simple actually. If you think of it, you have to know how to set it up first thing, and you have to know what tools to use. Once that hurdle is over, and you learn how to write these test scripts like this, and you learn how to execute them. Now, all you have to learn is to use, once you have this block set up, right? Once you know how to write your test cases and how to use these different blocks, the basic blocks, then all you need to do is copy paste them and find the right method for that element, find the right locator, for that element, and perform these actions and assertions. That it's as simple as that. And you might have to do a few trial and errors before you get a good handle on things. But that's okay. That's a one-time effort that you're doing. And then if it fails, you have to learn how to debug them, right? And that's why I'm doing this exercise, so that you learn how to debug this, because I can write a perfect script and make it pass the first time, right? But that's not how real time is going to be. You're going to run into issues when you start writing your test cases. So I want you to understand that it's okay to make mistakes, and you can always Google them. Google have plenty of resources that you can find. If you run into any issues, just copy paste that error into Google, and it's going to give you, people have submitted a lot of questions in the forums, different forums, and people have answered those questions. So you'll get a ton of help, online. So I hope this was clear, and I hope this is good enough for you to start and writing your test cases. All right. So as far as programming language goes, and as far as some statements goes, I'm going to create a separate lesson on that. But this is good enough for web application testing, how to launch your URL and how to locate your elements and how to interact with those elements, and then how to verify and assert, right? Like this. So I think this is good enough for testing web applications. In the next lesson, I'm going to teach you some basic programming, okay? If statements and conditions and if else loops and for loops and things like that. Okay, so that way you're at least familiar with some of these programming skills. And if you already know how to use those statements, you can skip ahead and consider this chapter as done. But if you have never done any kind of programming, then you might want to listen into that lesson also. All right. So that's it for this lesson. I'm going to see you in the next one.